I was young and naive, and I thought that anyone who took this course would, of course, get it, and they would become very ethical in business. And that went on till one of my students, a student, went to jail. So I knew something was wrong here. And then I had to change my expectations. And I realized that there are always a few people who will never understand this. And there are always a few bad apples, but most people are pretty good. And if I could raise the awareness of those people kind of on the edge who are asking questions, if I could change their minds, even a few minds, that would be at least a decent accomplishment, not a perfect accomplishment, but that was all I could expect, actually. I think my expectations that everyone was going to be ethical have changed because they are not. I had a student who got a good grade in my course and went to work for Enron and thought it was just a terrific company and didn't blow the whistle, even though he was with top management. That was a disappointment. But on the other hand, there have been other students who've called and said, thank you, I learned something, I've changed the way I do things. So yes, my expectations have changed. When I first started teaching in the late 70s, I told the students that the two of the big issues, which were equal opportunity and diversity, and also environmental issues, that by 2000, there would be no problems with diversity. We would all be integrated, we would all have equal opportunity, wouldn't even bother to talk about it anymore. Everyone would have opportunities, women be in the top positions, people of color, minorities, but the environmental issues would be serious. What's changed, of course, is this is 2019. And just last night, a young woman came to me and she said, how can I succeed in this male world I'm dealing with? And this is 2019. It's not over, and so that has changed my expectations. On the other hand, that the environmental issues, at least, are becoming right on the front page, right aware. And so I think we've done some good work, obviously not perfect, but we have really raised the bar on raising those issues, much to my surprise. I have done a lot of work on Adam Smith, the 18th century political economist, and I've discovered, of course, that business people, if I talk about Adam Smith, they think, oh yes, he's a free enterprise capitalist, and he was, except he was also argued that justice was the very basis of all economic systems and of all, of course, companies, and the humanizing of commerce was one of the things he argued over 200 years ago. And to take that and put that in a business context, I think that can be successful. And I have two other accomplishments. The first one is the idea that of mindsets or mental models, that we look at the world through lenses. We can't take in all the world, so we focus, and the good part is we do that and do it well. The bad part is we sometimes miss a train that's coming across the track and I'm standing there. And that, I think, creates a number of ethical issues of just people not being aware that there's something going on over here when I'm looking here. And so I think that to just make you aware that I'm always focused and I've got to look around, I think that's an important kind of issue. And then I think my third contribution is on the idea of moral imagination, that once you look around, then you can step back and think carefully about these issues and take another view. You can never take a view from nowhere, but you can get another perspective on that. That's another reason to read Adam Smith, because he said that a couple hundred years ago again. Well, I would think my theory of moral imagination is certainly what I'm best known for, to help to encourage managers to think, to look at what they're doing and stop and ask very simple questions like, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? Just because we've always done it this way, maybe there's something amiss, or maybe that's good. I'm still interested in what is an organization? What is its status? What is its moral status? And it's not the same as a person, of course, but I think you could talk about collective agency, and I think that's very important to do that. So if you think of a corporation as a collective agent, then it has moral responsibilities, and we want them to have moral responsibilities. So so those are the kinds of issues that I wrestled with. And the fourth issue is the idea of the self. Who am I, and how am I as a manager, and how could I make changes? This really concrete sense of the self and how the self can actually change. And I think that's really important for students to realize they don't have to be mired in a particular organization or in a particular way of thinking or even a particular religion or culture, that they can work their way out of that. And I think that's important for students. The questions and issues we still face today are, of course, diversity. We still have huge environmental issues, but the good news is I think most companies, most organizations realize that. They're not quite sure what to do about it, but they get that. They get it that it's an issue. And I think that's, in fact, I happen to think one of the important things that business ethics has done is raise awareness. We haven't made everybody good. Of course, we haven't solved all the problems, but it's aware. All companies are aware they have ethical issues. We have moved into a global economy. Everything we have, we wear, we do is made from all places all over the world. This camera that's taking my pictures probably made in 12 countries, this parts. And so we are global, like it or not. So then how do we adjust our thinking, because most of us are from Western industrial countries, and how do we adjust our thinking when we go into a new culture? One of my colleagues just came back from filming some tribes in Namibia, and they're playing another ball game we don't even know about, and it's so important to realize that how do you deal with that and still make some economic progress? So I think that's a huge, huge issue. And I don't think we've done it very well yet, by the way. By writing and business ethics, even though managers don't usually read our fabulous prose, we've raised the bar. Everybody is aware. All companies are aware, all small companies are aware. All over the world, people are aware about ethical issues, and that they're part of business. And I think that's a huge accomplishment. I don't think we can underestimate how well we have done in that. And that's why companies are so aware of environmental issues as well. We've raised that issue. And diversity is the same. Companies are aware, they're just not sure how to do it. So we don't have the how to do it yet, but we've certainly done a good job in raising awareness, I would say. If you think about the economic world as a diamond, where the industrialized nations are at the top, and there are these middle nations called the BRICS. These are companies that are moving toward the top, and the bottom are very, very poor countries that I don't know how we're going to get them out of poverty. They're just really desperately poor. But I think what we're going to see is that diamond is going to change to a reverse pyramid, and I think we're going to see a lot of countries on the top, and we may not be one of them. And that's why it's important, as just being a parochial American, we may not be at the top anymore. I think that's a very good question, and I wish I had a nice, crisp answer. But most philosophy goes back to Plato or Aristotle, and you can usually stretch something to do that. For Plato, I would say it's the notion of the self. He talks about the soul. Now people don't talk that way so much anymore, but he certainly raised the question about who is the self. And I think that, as I said earlier, I think that's an important issue. And Aristotle, of course, raises lots of, the Jacobean ethics, lots of questions about ethics and virtue. And what is a virtuous person? What is a virtuous company? Even what is a virtuous nation? And those issues are always nagging us, even though they're not addressed always in business ethics. So yes, they have roots. They're behind us as our roots, if you like.